Good morning. As promised, I'm going to give my little testimony on what happened to me. So, it was in the 90s, and I remember that because I had one of them giant t-shirts and some baggy jeans. Okay, so I don't know if it was the afternoon and I had a really, really crazy morning, or if it was the next morning and it was a really, really crazy night. But I was definitely intoxicated, and I was laying on the bed like this, belly down. All of a sudden I feel some cool air on my back, and I couldn't understand what that was because I know I have a long t-shirt on. So I'm kind of like drunk or whatever, high or whatever, and I'm just like waving it off. Then I feel my underwear tugging, like what? And it was like coming down. Somebody kept tugging, and I'm like, yo, leave me alone, leave me alone. And I was like, yo, I don't get down like that. Yo, don't touch my booty. I don't get down like that. And they kept doing it. And when I finally got up enough strength to turn and look back, at least 7 or 8 of the closest people I know was in that line, going from the bed out the door. And then I jumped up and they all started running and laughing and giggling. Okay? Now, I never said nothing about this situation. I never threw it up in nobody's face later. All of these people I've grown to love and admire. I never had a falling out, not that I know. That wasn't as a result of a misunderstanding with any of these individuals. Every one of these individuals, as far as I know, grew up to be just absolute awesome men and parents, actually. And I didn't even recall this story until I'm sitting there thinking, like, with all this stuff that's going on and these rumors going on about me and people saying they're coming to get me and I better not see them and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, wait a second, as much as I've done for these people, then I'm thinking, wait, as many times they've been on the guest list, they never showed up at political stuff, the symphony, they never showed up at none of my shows or anything like that. But whenever there was tickets to a movie premiere or a concert, they was right there. Like, how come you never showed up for none of my candidates? How come after all the political stuff, how everybody's went into office, first black this, first female that, and everybody then went and gone, and I'm a nobody? I'm like, where was the family support? So somebody calling me that saying I'm not family no more. You was never being family. I was the one being family. You've been doing this crooked stuff the whole time. And I'm trying to figure out, why is people trying to get me? Why are they trying to get me? Oh, because you did something. You violated already. And I never took it as a violation. At the moment, everybody laughed it off. I was like, well, boys will be boys. But then I really started to think about this situation. What if I really was the type of person that had sex that way? What if I was a bottom and was intrigued by the situation? I was already intoxicated and sleeping. Either way, I would have ended up in the hospital. And then the doctors in the municipality would want to find out what had happened to me. It would have been very bad. It is very bad what they did, because I wasn't drunk enough. So when we talk about, gay and straight, gay was definitely taboo back then. But I never thought of anything. I never judged anybody. I never threw it in their face. I never said nothing about any of these things. There's a whole lot of stuff, but this is just one example of that I can give you, where at the hands of my peers there was a sexual impropriety and they act like it never happened, like they never did that to me. And it's shocking because I know in my mind and in my head that these people, like I said, they grew up to be great individuals, grew up to be great parents. But I never met their kids before. How do you know people from high school and now you're in adulthood and you never even met their kids? See, so all this stuff that came out, y'all think it's recently. They've been playing this game since 1999. I mean, using my name. And the funny thing is, I always thought it was somebody else, somewhere over the rainbow, some enemies. Nope, it was right where who I thought I needed to depend on. So never talk to me about loyalty. Never tell me that the white man does this, the white man does that, when you constantly have a record, have a motive operandi concerning me. And what have I been doing all along? Forgiving, moving on, still building these steps so that we all can be successful, so that we all can blow together. And in retrospect, it was never reciprocated. So relish in your hypocrisy. But like Rusty used to say, and he probably still says, we got a city to build. And I wish Boston would have been more responsive, or had held on, because I've been there for a long time. Just have held on. Just bodies, just numbers. Couldn't get that. Everybody's preoccupied with something else. And then they say that I never did anything, that I never put any effort towards you or anybody. And mind you, with no money, while being trashed by my base. And right now, the testimony is nothing happened. God spared me from having to endure a situation gone very, very bad. But it goes to show you, people forget what they do to you. And then they threaten you and accuse you based off of something that they heard. Not something that they experienced, witnessed, anything like that. Just what they heard. And I'm trying to figure out, why is it so easy not to like me? Whoa, because you got something on them. But I don't. I would never use something like that on anybody. It just goes to show you, you got to really, really be careful about the people you give your time and your energy to. You've got to really, really be careful about whose name you write in your will. Because you might be better off doing something for an entity rather than for individuals.